Chapter 6, magnetic recording specification. After completion of this, you'll be able to do the following. Define the most common magnetic type of recording specifications for magnetic tape record signal noise ratio. Does count measure by the high signal noise ratio is important. If the tape recorder repeated frequency response specification within this, with acting limit to the recorder frequency response, the tape record the harmonic distortion specification. How is measured and how to record the harmonic distortion and how to record response. Specification has measured why the phase response is important. Drive the water flutter. Measure the minimum flutter is important. Describe the quarter time-based error with the specification. And that's measured when the time-based error is important. So multi-magnetic tape recording skew specification has measured and why minimum skew is important. Have you ever done this over the Bible tape over the why you were able to decide the display model of the good one until you did it instead of with one the salesperson started with this noise ratio flutter and with it was if you were alone. Chapter 1 defines the 7 most common magnetic tape recording specification describe the magnetic recording process. 3 tells you how the measure is just main paragraph. The chapter describes each of the following magnetic tape recording specification ratio, frequency response, harmonic distortion, phase response, flutter, time-based error, and skew. Signal noise ratio. Signal noise ratio. First magnetic tape recorder specification will describe this one of the most important specifications of the magnetic tape recorder. Signal noise ratio. The definition. Signal noise ratio. The ratio of the normal signal of the magnetic tape recorder owns noise level with the measure of the decibel and with the higher signal noise ratio of the magnetic tape recorder with the wire into the input is properly recorded as a reproduced noise signal noise ratio is with the magnetic tape recorder itself, although the noise generated almost part of the magnetic recorder is generated by the magnetic heads of the magnetic tape. Signal noise ratio the signal noise ratio with the vacuum tube voltmeter and signal generator. The equipment that you use is some set of measuring the signal noise ratio is shown to 6.1. The setting of the system of the signal noise ratio is a vacuum tube voltmeter and signal generator going to recording amplifier magnetic tape. The magnetic head reproduces off the amplifier vacuum tube voltmeter. Signal the signal generator inject test signal tape recorder. The technical manual tape recorder you're testing will test for the signal generator record with the producing the output level of the tape recorder electrons. The level displayed for the decibels reference to the vacuum tube voltmeter. The signal generator voltage displayed on the vacuum tube voltmeter will drop the 0 decibels to the side of the decibel level of the magnetic tape recorder signal noise ratio. There are two things you should know about the signal noise ratio specification. Within the brochure, the first signal noise ratio is the three waves that you see with the mean signal error, mean square noise, peak to peak signal root mean square noise, and peak to root signal to root mean noise. Signal noise ratio is specification does not say for the measure the sound noise ratio is a specification does not which of the measure that could be misleading. For example, 25 decibels root mean squared is sound noise ratio is equal to 34 decibels. The peak to peak root mean squared noise ratio. 28 decibels peak to signal root means noise ratio. Second, all the signal sound ratio specifications include the record level that you the signal noise ratio vary directly with the record level that you can be misled. The sound noise ratio does not include the record level of the test signal that the signal noise ratio is measured. All right, frequency response specification for the magnetic tape recorder is sometimes called with a typical frequency response specification may be read as plus or minus 3 decibels from 100 to 1 kilohertz. This is magnetic tape recorder is capable of recording frequency between 100 Hz and 100 kilohertz, 60 inches per second without varying output amplitude with the decibels. Frequency response amplitude variation frequency of specific bandwidth as the curve plane things frequency response specification magnetic tape recorder with the range frequency of the effectively recorded which actually the word with effect the linear to the because frequency runs the recorder and recorder and for the manufacturer but down rule is the frequency until the lowest high frequency of the recorder can record is no more than plus or minus 3 decibel difference output and amplitude for response the measure the frequency response to magnetic the measure signal noise ratio and critical one after the mistake is balanced up and measure the core frequency response to offset the signal generator to output signal tape recorder will tell you how so the reproduce output of the level of the vacuum tube meter while recording it says with frequency signal generator low set with your checking make sure the output of the signal generator as you prove the frequency of the volts vacuum tube meter use the output frequency of the signal generator as you heard the listen for the magnetic tape recorder that can record you the volt vacuum tube meter less than -3 decibel below limit the free response specification magnetic tape recorder. Frequency response limiting factor. The fact that the same limit is the regular magnetic tape recorder too high or too low signal of the recorder head, proper reproduced head, improper tape and transport head, improper magnetic tape to head contact magnetic reading of the transformer of the electrical signal magnetic field and recording on the magnetic tape. The bicycle is too high, mirror the higher frequency is too low, you get excessive tape distortion. The reduced head termination is from the head magnetic tape back to the electrical signal explained the recorder readers have the operating speed of the magnetic tape transport with the reproduced have the wavelength to the current frequency of the recorder frequency response location 1 pass temperature below and above that voltage level the reproduced the critical this is why the equalization are shown circuits described by the reach they put voltage level at certain frequency and increase frequency for the peg contact simply give the recorder reproduced by the band is like do the it's going to have the gap is stop the gap the green average here's the show the middle 1 to the middle gap and cover the small loss but 1 megahertz cover force cost a loss maintain the head contact keep the magnetic record head of the tape transport cleans best way to signal decibels the signal is called 1 millimeter head tape duration frequency alright harmonic distortion magnetic tape record harmonic distortion specification very important to laser limit the record level of the recorded electron sheet 7 of the record level you determine the signal noise ratio frequency response position typical harmonic distortion rate might be 1%. Third harmonic 100 kilohertz signal with 60 inches per second. That means the magnetic tape recorder is percent of third harmonic distortion 100 kilohertz at 60 inches per second. Harmonic distortion definition. Harmonic distortion definition production harmonic frequency electrical position when a signal is put in inputs who go through non-linear electrical outputs will include the harmonic distortion line frequency with the distortion save the power and discipline about frequency and 1 and frequency multiply 1, 2, 3 or such certain frequency of the inputs with the type of the harmonic distortion even order in order the frequency of the distortion 2, 4, 6 is in frequency even order harmonic frequency with the distortion 3, 5 and 10 frequency order harmonic frequency other harmonic frequency are only called the magnetic tape order harmonic normally called the permanently has been against the circuits and that's asymmetrical and balanced by a signal as you make the guess. In order, harmonics can reduce the item around main spec performance testing. Our primary distortion magnetic recorder system of the third harmonic level third harmonic recorder equal the level of the distortion will increase figure 6A from 4A and B. The relation of the two things that's in the level of the third or harmonic in the recorder with 1 is equal by level 2 level figure 6 or age of the level third harmonic distortion signal by level increase. And 4B should have the third level harmonic increase the graph first through the roughly record level increase this is what the third harmonic from the record level increasing is increase by level third harmonic increase increasing recording level should affect the signal at the word level harmonic level harmonic distortion in the side of the specific set of measuring harmonic distortion with the test signal generated the board VB of the bang board and record level harmonic distortion with the board out waving line signal to record amp family technique and regret for waiting line technique the main recorder and testing will help with the how to have a healthy way and with the specific frequency of the frequency 1, 2 or 3 times the signal generator output for example so the technique will the signal generator is 10 kilohertz of the recorder since you want to measure the third order harmonic the technique will set the wave line the middle of the harmonic alright response with even the one specification magnetic record with the noise ratio for a conservative response, but now you need to record and reproduce more complex waveform with the telemetric computer to have the phase response or specification between important frequency and response. More important because the point is the response phase relationship definition. Phase relations expand the various of the frequency of the magnetic record with linear increase the phase the relationship with the frequency increase the impedance and so much the phase relationship magnetic record and reduce the complex such as the square wave and infinite. Remember the same wave without destroying your success show both in bad phase response. Phase response bad phase response. Phase relationship bad. Sorry, phase response. You're not phase response, but the best way to check for the phase of the magnetic tape recorder record reproduce a square wave watch the output and the oscilloscope. The output signal is symmetrical in the figure 6 7 recorder and the phase response. Linear phase response from linear response A and D and B and C must be symmetrical. General audio broadcast coined in the term that you actually hear from that. The flare definition among uniform television with the cover various shapes with the frequency modulations and the record on magnetic tape flares usually the first time of the people to be value record recorders and square the recorders called and tape for low frequency flare with below 1,000 hertz. I have covered that rodent tape transport the magnetic tape supply so means can get stands high frequency flare above 1,000 hertz the pick part of the tape transport head the magnetic passive head instead down and clear friction cover the sum of the section is some section is that cover the variation tapes which in terms of flare as you might get say sort of prevent third one way the flare is through skilled engineering machine design make record blood measurement there are new later flare but for the fact of the tape variation of the modulation record on the 6 of 8 show the typical type of the measurement peak via the flare frequency modulate demodulate in Oslo technical made of the mechanic typically having allowed to generate that put testing that's going these procedures. Our signal recorder amplifier maintain head reproduce amplifier frequency modulate demodulate also record to signal the magnetic tape rewind the negative you become made the flare as you require the tape speed variation have the recorder have about the same as the repeat flare as the small C after running the tape play back during the playback of the output signal tape go through the FMT modulator move there's test of the waveform. You now see the actual signal that was modulated on the test of the oscillator display measure for the flare signal. Time-based error specification magnetic tape recorder closely related to the flare specification. In fact, with time-based error, the direct measurement of the effect of the flare with the stability of the record data. Time-based error definition. Time-based error of the time relationship to error between the two or more events of the recorder reproduced with the same magnetic tape as definition displayed from the point of the magnetic tape from which where it should have been during the specific time interval. A typical time-based error specification might read plus or minus 100 microseconds over the 10 milliseconds time interval with the tape speed of 60 inches per second. The reference to the control tone the time-based error of the color of the signal filter of the plus or minus 100 microseconds into over 10 milliseconds the per tape the speed of 60 inches per second. Your time-based error jitter introduces noise on one frequency modulation when the frequency my recording technique for the magnetic tape recording properly the loss of accuracy and pulse duration modulation pulse code modulation and other magnetic recording where precise the timing relationship that exists between more signal the time-based error measurement. The simple way to measure for the time-based error is also low figure 69 show a typical test of the equipment of the measuring time-based error. After you the test equipment the time-based error as follows: the signal generator recorder amplifier magnetic head and reproduce amplifier oscillate vertical input sync input and oscillate display the time-based error. The set of the signal generator generate the testing of electrical of the magnetic recorder you testing with the tell how the test on how the signal generator both recorded input with the oscillate trigger the sync input the connect tape recorder oscillate vertical input record reduce the signal adjust the oscillate and technically control the unit of the time-based error oscillate display limit the glare of the hood of the oscillate display. Alright, skew. The magnetic tape recorder specification only if level track magnetic tape recorder skew the definition skew the inner track fix for that and after the display from the azimuth that count the different track off the width of the magnetic tape is path of the magnetic heads. In other words, the time difference between track with on track magnetic head. Typical specification might read from plus minus 15 microseconds to cover the adjacent track with the same head with 140 inches per second. That only one track with magnetic head can be lead or lag with the track next to as much as 15 microseconds to 120 inches per second. This specification apply both fixed and dynamic skew. The fixed skew can cover the magnetic tape record electronics. Gaps cover magnetic head. Oscillator method of the magnetic head takes difference potential on the tape path. Given by the fuse fixed cube of the adjusting recording electronic relying magnetic heads fixed cube the error of the show the magnetic tape they record the same tape recorders the fixed cube the error of the additive usually show up when you record the magnetic record and produce another and this error can be called either magnetic tape transport of the tape itself the name transfer of the one stick of the magnetic tape probably over the magnetic head the drift of the path of the magnetic angle black Cars skating on an icy road. If the negative is the rope, and it's a uniform off the width, it's what called the dyno skew. Skew measurement. Skew is best measure the slope figures inch over the typical depth of equipment itself. Measures the technical meaning tape record with the testing will tell you how to set up the signal generator. Test equipment setup measure the skew is followed. The signal generator amplifier record amplifier make tape the tape the head. Your reaper's amplifier vertical input with the sync input oscilloscope and the dynamic skew with the skew the oscilloscope display of the skew. So, all right, and check the testing with the reference track within one of the track the multi-track magnetic tape. The record with the reference track to be one of the two outside of the track with the magnetic head. Connect with the output with the reference track. The sync input with the oscilloscope track with the horizontal sweep. The connect with the output with the other track with the vertical input of the oscilloscope. While recording and reproducing the oscilloscope measure for the fix of the dynamic skew which are over the display of the oscilloscope figure 610 show this. How's this where it looks. Chapter 6 summary.